Hello everybody, I'm Rob Sproule. Welcome to Gardening with Color, the video series. The video series based on the book and dedicated to talking about how to design your container, how to turn your container gardens into works of art this spring. Right now we're on number 1 and we're talking about containers, the different trends in containers, and we're talking about how to start putting a container together. So once again, the series is based on Gardening with Color, Creative Design Ideas for Canadian Gardens. It's my new book, just out this year in 2011, chock full of wonderful ideas, and it's all about using the elements of design like color schemes, textures in your container gardens, and it's available right now from Lone Pine Press all across Canada. I'm Rob Sproule from Salisbury Greenhouse in Show Park, and container gardening, of course, container gardening is so huge. Container gardening is the majority of the annuals gardening we're doing right now. And containers have gotten so big, and I think one of the reasons containers have gotten so big is because containers are fun. Containers, they don't have the sense of commitment that other types of gardening do. You go out to a garden center, you buy a tree or a big shrub, and there's a lot of commitment there. You got to live with that thing for quite a while. When you're doing container gardening, you can really branch out, you can really have some fun, you can really be creative. As you can see here, I have lots and lots of ingredients, beautiful containers here that we've put together at Salisbury Greenhouse, and I'm going to talk about them all in the videos ahead. And talking about being creative with your containers, I hope these videos really inspire you to really step out of the box. If you're someone who does the same containers every year, and you know, maybe they're very conservative containers, maybe they're not, maybe they're very interesting containers, but the same every year, really branch out. I'm going to encourage you to take 1 or 2 containers this year and not plan for them. To go into the garden center, come to Salisbury, and don't have a plan for them, but just walk the aisles and see what occurs to you. And I'll tell you how to do that, because you may think a container garden has many elements. It has 3 or 5 or whatever elements. And where do I start? How do I start putting it together? Well, you don't start by looking for all the elements. You start by looking for one of the elements. So you push your cart through the garden center and look for one plant that catches your eye, one plant that inspires you. So here's a plant that really caught my eye. This is called Penstemon Fireworks. It's a beautiful red grass, very closely related to Penstemon rubrum, the purple fountain grass. So look for one plant that really inspires you and that you think you can build a container out of. This plant is probably going to be the focal point of your container. The focal point in a container is the element of the container that everything else revolves around. If you have a nice balanced container, the focal point is going to be in the center. If you have a container that's off balance, a little more asymmetrically balanced, the focal point is going to be on one side and the eyes will move around the container. So whatever you want to do with your focal point, you get it, and then you build the container around it. So, and then just put on your cart. Let's pretend this is our cart. And you put on your cart and you start driving through the garden center. And you might say, you know what? These look good for some foliage. These look good for some foliage. Let's put these here. And look how the red is going to harmonize with the red. You have actually all these colors are harmonious with each other here. You have beautiful greens in both. You have beautiful reds in both. You have creams in both. So this is a really neat mix. And then you might find these guys. You might find these guys. You might think, geez, I'm starting to get a really nice harmony theme going. I'm going to add these guys. And I'm going to put these guys like here. And I'm going to put these guys here. These, by the way, are called Kong coleus, Kong mosaic. Very beautiful coleus, grow nice and large. These are Dahlias, and of course Dahlias are a beautiful, beautiful classic flower. And then you might say, I'm going to take my Bacopa. I'm going to take my Bacopa white. Of course, Bacopa is a beautiful trailing annual. I don't have any trailing elements in this container yet. And this is all on your shopping cart in the middle of the garden center. And people will see you do this, and they'll probably start asking you questions because everyone wants to be doing this, but you're the one doing it. And so you take your Bacopa, has these beautiful white flowers. White is a very anchoring color in the garden. It really grounds everything else. So we're going to do that as our trailing annual. All right, and I'm going to put the Bacopa here. So now the Bacopa is going to trail out the sides. So here you have a container. This looks like to be about a 16 or 18 inch in diameter container. You have beautiful reds interplaying with pinks and greens. You have whites and creams coming out. This is a harmonious container, and yet the red is still going to contrast with the green, and so it's got a bit of everything. It's got foliage, and it all came from this central focal point that you saw, that you fell in love with, and that you said to yourself, I'm going to make a container out of that. So that's the way to do it. Take 1 or 2 containers. That's your homework assignment this spring. Take 1 or 2 containers and just go in blind to the garden center and start building it from there. Use that as your focal point. Start building containers. Be creative, have fun, and get your hands dirty. That's what it's all about.